Good evening, everyone. I have wonderful news. My father has heard from one of my daughters recently, so even though there is a lockdown in Australia, I am very relieved to hear that they're alive. However, we're going to have a discussion right now, or I'm having a discussion right now. So this is the Constitution of the United States of America, and this is a letter from the Public Defender's Office of the Family Court in Monroe County, New York. This is the same family court in Monroe County, New York that actually set precedents to literally annihilate every one of your Supreme Court divorce decrees that we pay heavily for. My Supreme Court divorce decree that was 10 years old stated neither party was allowed to move outside of Monroe County, New York. Yet my ex-husband signed a contract with Harris L3, left for Australia, moved to Australia. I took care of the kids. It was all on me, which meant when it's all on you, basically you can't work full-time. You know, I made many sacrifices to support the ex's career. Not going into that story, the Fourth Amendment of the United States of the Constitution is very easily read. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Stating that, and I'm going to give a little background story. I picked this up when I was very privileged. I, for about a year, was the Peace Alliance's Community Peace Buildings Council lead. And we went and we actually had a conference in Washington, D.C. I stayed at DuPont Circle. It was just lovely. And, you know, I went to Senator Schumer's office, which was just amazing. I met Hillary Shelton from the NAACP, and I also went to Senator Gillibrand's office, which is amazing to me because, you know, female senator, I just think it's kind of cool. So that's where I picked this little doohickey up. And I would recommend that everybody get one of these because, quite frankly, you need to know your rights. If you don't know your rights, you get abused or you lose your rights. My daughters are residing in Australia. The father is the only relative there. This is difficult for me. It's a pandemic and I'm terrified. God forbid he falls off his Harley Davidson, has a heart attack, or becomes victim to the pandemic, or one of my daughters becomes victim to the pandemic or is in an accident. I cannot re-up my visa to get into Australia. I was denied a trial by this Republican judge. Family court, lesser court than the Supreme Court that gave me my divorce decree. I was denied a trial by her. This is all documented. Now, in the last week, I have just received, probably Thursday I got this. It's postmarked the 25th of March. The envelope is postmarked. But I just this week finally received the latest court order that was stamped October 19th, 2020. I'm not going to show you the paperwork, but it does state that I'm supposed to be getting video chats daily. I'm not getting them. The letter attached to it is dated November 27th, 2020. I don't know what to tell you other than I would like the media and other parents and constituents and taxpayers to be very concerned about the fact that these people with law degrees think that we're illiterate. I just read you the Constitution of the United States of America. Now, if I haven't been charged with a crime, I'm actually in full possession of a domestic report from the date of separation where the father had abandoned custody, July 25th, 2018. The kids were solely in my care. He was in Australia. My daughter supposedly, this is where you got to start getting concerned about perverts. supposedly had a health crisis. I don't think she did. I was the only soul in the country that could get that child health care and take her to her pediatrician or to the Golisano Children's Hospital. Now, they denied me that right. Now they're trying to cover it up. Now they can do this to anybody. And I'm going to tell you what, I've been to family court in Monroe County, New York, most of the time not knowing if both of my children were alive. TSA federal air regulations were violated. Hey, I have joint custody. That's proven. I mean, I have joint custody. They were taken out of the country by a non-parent. That violates TSA federal air regulations. Federal air regulations are not for Monroe County, New York to manipulate. I'm looking forward to Senator Schumer figuring this out for me because, quite frankly, I've had it with these people. And really want to say is this. If there's not an attorney in Monroe County, New York that's willing to help me file a civil lawsuit, when you call the Monroe County Bars Association, they'll say, you're going to have to find an attorney from another county because it's a conflict of interest. Well, then you have a fraudulent local government because you have to pay an attorney on an hourly basis. So how much does it cost to get one from Buffalo? And by the way, if you do your research, a lot of these people all went to Buffalo together. So where's your conflict of interest? Who's supporting the Constitution of the United States of America? And if you're not, what I'm asking is, hey, algorithms exist. I had a Supreme Court divorce decree stating neither party was allowed to move outside of Monroe County, New York. A clean criminal history. They had nothing on me. Except, baloney, like trying to. Nothing's ever been proven against me. The data separation, again, states no child abuse, malnutrition, or neglect suspected. They could do this to any parent. Now, they tempted my children with Australia. All they have to do for your children, drugs, alcohol, time alone with a boyfriend or girlfriend, and they walk your kids right out the door. This is wonderful, isn't it? It's actually hell on earth for me. But, I'm doing wonderful because I did hear from my dad today. He's like, they're all right. And so it's like this huge relief. And I'm so happy to hear it. Their school's on lockdown in Australia because COVID's starting to hit. That's terrifying for me. Terrifying. I'm the one that made the sacrifices, He got to have the career. I did work at the Laboratory for Laser Energetics, which is inertial confinement fusion funded by DOD and DODE. We had met through an astrophysicist and all this stuff, but, I understand they wanted to live in Australia. Just to go without knowing that they're okay on a daily basis, my anxiety level goes up. It's done damage to every relationship I've had. With closest friends, oldest friends, newest friends, relatives. And when you've got 30 family court dates, especially when you don't know if your kids are alive, you're not going to, a job isn't coming before the family court date. Most full-time jobs have a 6-month probation period. There goes the full-time job. So I went back to school, but I can't even concentrate on school anymore. It is what it is. I've done the best I can do. I can tell you this, guys. It's a good thing that I don't have a mortgage or have to pay rent. I own my home, my little condo. It's not a big deal. I'm not rich or anything. I'm actually poverty level at this point. Don't have a car payment and won't because my father's giving me his car. Very blessed to have the father I have. Outside of that, had it happened to anybody else, and it could happen to a married couple, Senator Schumer and Senator Gillibrand, this could happen to anybody. Hey, if we can't sue them for them violating our constitutional rights, well, that's fraud. And again, we can get robots to do your jobs. You know? Because a computer algorithm would have done the opposite of what this Republican slob judge, Dandra Ruhlman, did. She literally set precedent to destroy every Supreme Court divorce decree in the country. I want her charged with the endangerment of the welfare of children. Something happens to my ex-husband, she has refused to give me an emergency contact through Harris L3. And oh, by the way, guys, the latest order, the only order I have in my possession, the current order from October 2020 that I just received last week, doesn't say I can't contact Harris L3 and complain. Also doesn't say I can't publicly speak about it. Well, isn't karma a bitch? This better work out in my favor.